We have waited for it. The day has finally come. We are going to sell the camper. No, we're going to sell the camper.
I'm going to blow it up.
All right, well, wait till the end of the video and we'll see who wins this fight. Our family of 5 has lived in this 40-foot trailer for the past 2 years, but we are officially done with that life. I'm going to share with you why we moved in, why we moved out, some things we learned along the way, and try to answer the big question everyone keeps asking, would we do it again? Near the end of 2020, our family decided that we were going to move from the Dallas suburbs to rural Tennessee. And we decided the best way to do that was by buying a camper and living in that while we built. We knew that by doing this, it would allow us to, number one, save a lot of money that would be used for rent, and number two, be able to be on site where we were building our house. We figured that if we really wanted to build this house ourselves with as much cash and little debt as possible, that this was the way to go. When we first headed out, we figured that we would have a house somewhat ready to live in and move into in about 6 months to a year. Oh, how naive. Between changing to a bigger house plan, bad weather, and really just underestimating how long and how much it would take to do this process, that 6 months to a year turned into 2 years and 2 months living in the camper. In those 2 years, we have gained some major RV living experience, including that I am unfortunately really good at doing this thing right here. And if you don't know what this is, you are blessed. So let's get down to 2 big takeaways of what we've learned RV living and would we do it again? Okay, so poor quality of campers. Right up front, I'm gonna admit, we did not buy a very nice camper. And we knew that because we wanted to keep so much cash for our house build, we kept our budget very low for the camper. But even after considering that, you have to know that there are 2 kinds of campers. Those that have things broken and those that will have things broken. No matter how expensive of a camper you get, there will be wear and tear. These are designed and built for travel, for moving, which means they are very lightweight, which means that they are also very cheaply made. So essentially you are living in a box made of very thin metal that's wrapped on the inside with cardboard. It's just cheap, and it's something to keep in mind if you're doing any long-term living. So big takeaway, if you're considering this, something we should have done, we should have checked more into what we were buying. We should have looked for water damage better, but you just have to be prepared to know it's never going to be as sturdy as an actual house. And that doesn't seem like a big deal until you have any type of extreme weather, extreme heat, extreme cold, extreme wind. Okay, let's talk about the elephant in the room now, which is the perfect metaphor for living in a camper because you feel like you are an elephant living in a tiny room. Yes, it's obvious a camper is going to be very small. You don't always really realize it until you're in there with 5 people and all your stuff. Also talking about space, you have 0 personal space. If one person gets sick, just count on everybody getting sick. If you're going to the bathroom for any reason, everybody's going to know what's going on in there. You're really on top of each other the whole time. After a while, you do get kind of a map and a pattern of how to move around each other, how to juggle everybody getting a shower at certain times, and you just kind of work out your schedule. So it's doable, but you just have to work through it a little bit. Now, because of this tight living, outdoor space now becomes really important. Fortunately for us, we have a lot of outdoor space. Camper living is easiest in the fall and the spring when the weather is perfect. You're outdoors all the time, you're cooking outside, and it's hardest during the extreme temperatures of summer and winter. Rainy season, really hot season. That's when you start feeling a little claustrophobic. So consider your outdoor space if you're doing any type of full-time living. So here's a big takeaway from a woman who has lived with her husband and 3 kids in a small box for 2 years. This can be really tough for your family, can be really good for you and your family. If you're thinking about camper living, personally, for your family, always consider your own mental health. How do you deal with small spaces, rainy days, being trapped up with a family? How does your family dynamic operate in a big space? Is that going to be made better or worse in a small space? With that caveat in mind, I would actually highly recommend any individual family to at least consider some type of small space living or an unconventional travel lifestyle at some period. This experience, not just the camper, but of course in building our house, has made our family so much closer. It has made our marriage so much stronger. It will make you so much more grateful and thoughtful about how you live and what you've been given. In the weeks after we moved into our house, these little things keep popping up that just make me so happy. Seemingly small things that are now a big deal to me, like just having easy access to laundry, a big sink to wash dishes in, having a space where if a kid is sick, they can just kind of sleep it off and everyone else doesn't get it. Being able to just take a long hot bath, or using the microwave and the toaster at the same time without worrying about something overheating. And of course, a big one for us is really feeling safe during a big storm. You don't feel everything moving around. These things that I used to not think of at all have become a luxury. The challenge for us now that we're in our house is to keep a hold of that feeling of gratefulness and to always remind ourselves that everything we have is a gift, to always be thankful for those little things, those small things that we didn't think of before. So now I really want to address a big question we've been getting a lot now that we're moved into the house, and that is, would you do it again? The answer is yes and no. The answer really depends on the question. So would we say in the past, go back and do it again? Like, do we regret it? Or would you plan to do it again in the future? As for the future, I would say probably no. At this point, currently, just moving out of a camper, we have no desire to ever live in a camper again. We have talked about an interest in possibly building again, which, again, we're not even done with this house, and we have had that conversation, but we would love to see if we could figure out a way to do it without this step. The idea for a lot of people is you buy the camper and then you can use it later to go on vacation and travel, and we don't even want to do that. We want it gone. So it's easy to look back and say, we could have done this better, this would have been easier, but all in all, we can't really see a way that we could have done this a better way with the knowledge that we had at the time. As far as our time on the property, financially, this is still probably the best way that we could have done a self-building project. So although there are details, of course, we would have changed, I can say that after 2 years living in this thing that I now really hate and want to get rid of, I would do it again. Although this phase of camper life has been life-changing, it's something we'll never forget, I'm glad that we are done with it. Maybe just a little explosion. Just like part of it.
We'll start off with a little one.
Okay, so that's what you call a compromise. We got a little explosion, but we're still going to sell the camper. We need the money out of it. And I wasn't expecting it. That was all his idea, but that felt really good.
Anytime we can blow stuff up, it's for the good of the channel. It really is.
I could rewatch that video again. That felt pretty nice.
So let us know of other things you would like to see blown up, and we will take it under consideration.
So the camper went bye-bye, money in our pockets, which is going to turn into flooring in our house.
Yes.
So that will be nice. So thank you for watching. If you want to know more about our house build, maybe you're here for the camper video, but you want to know about our house build, check out our channel and follow along.
Thanks, guys. Camper's going flying.
Oh! Yeah. Nice.
Oh!
That seemed a lot bigger than the last one.
Using your camera as a shield.
That's great. Sacrificing your body.